Man, I have done a lot of riverside traveling now, down the Mississippi River, up the Ohio, all the way to where it meets the Tennessee. Don't get me wrong, I love the Mississippi, but every once in a while it's nice to see a fresh new river. And of course, visit a new state. It's time to go ashore and visit one of the most beautiful riverside towns in America, Paducah, Kentucky. A town that's not just fun to pronounce, it's pretty fun to look at too. Wow. Everything about this place is so gorgeous. It's like a mix of Main Street, USA and Savannah, Georgia. And like the sign says, Southern background, Western kindliness. There are beautiful historic buildings everywhere. It's amazing when places like this survive, especially when the water's been up to here before. Everywhere I look, there's something to see. A lot of art or historic stuff like this sign about how they bought the town for $5. It's pretty as a picture everywhere you look. And for a small town, there are a bunch of museums here. Just to name a few, there's the old Market House, which is now a museum. There's a huge old Illinois Central steam locomotive downtown, not too far from the Railroad Museum, because apparently they used to build and fix trains in Paducah. Then down really close to the river, something I am very interested in, the River Heritage Museum, where you can learn all about the old steamboating days. Man, all of that is awesome. All of that is sweet. But no trip to Paducah is truly complete without a visit to the National Quilt Museum. Oh, dude, it is awesome in there. Unfortunately, there is no filming allowed. I tried to get him to bend the rules, but there's too many wet blankets in there. I think I made him a little cranky by asking, but don't worry, someday we'll come back and patch things up. Crazy that William Clark of Lewis & Clark only paid $5 for all this land. $5. That's a pretty good deal considering Meriwether Lewis paid $20 for this dog. Not sure who got the better deal there. Anyway, I love soaking in the history here. Paducah is quaint and charming and oh so picturesque. It's perfect for those band photos where you all look in different directions so you look real deep and artistic. But I'm not in a band anymore, and as lovely as this little town is, if I'm gonna spend the day in Kentucky, I'd like to see something a little more folksy, a little more backwoods, a little more hillbilly. Now that's what I'm talking about. It don't get much more hillbilly than this. Welcome to the wildest place in Kentucky, the Apple Valley Hillbilly Garden and Toyland. Unlike the pristine-looking property of the neighbors, Apple Valley is a burst of crazy creativity that definitely stands out alongside old Highway 68. Signs like this get my attention immediately. This is the kind of place you just have to pull over. And even though these hillbilly gardens are actually a little less than 15 years old, people have actually been stopping here in Apple Valley for generations. In the early 1930s, this was all apple orchards, thus the name Apple Valley. Until, of course, the brand new US 68 was paved back in '32. After that, taking advantage of his prime highway-fronted real estate, property owner Oral Wallace built this small country store to serve those old-timey travelers in their Model Ts and fill them up with not just Gulf gasoline, but apple cider and chicken dinners. That would totally be enough to get me interested, but fast forward 80 years, and old Oral Wallace's grandson, Keith Holton family, came back to the property after living in California and are once again delighting travelers on the highway, only this time with a folk art wonderland. And the crazy thing is, even though Keith wanted to put an attraction here from the beginning, the original plan was nothing like this. You see, Keith over here is a huge toy collector. Actually, this wall of clowns is a whole semi-truck trailer packed with a massive toy collection. So the original plan was to build a huge, shiny, new themed building out here called Toyland and open it up as a sort of roadside attraction toy museum. Unfortunately, some of the neighbors objected to the idea of a roadside attraction being built here. The original financial backers dropped out, and Keith was left by the side of the highway over here wondering what in the world to do. Well, of course, as a fan of roadside attractions all over the country, and with a whole junk pile in the back of the property from the old gas station days, it didn't take long for him to start getting creative. Things started out simply enough, like with this old Gulf gas station converted into his own version of a muffler man. Then when the old van went dead, Keith pushed it up against a tree and put the word hillbilly on the side. And apparently that really got the neighbors fired up, because not too long after, Keith had a visit from a couple of local law enforcement officers. And apparently the neighbors were using the old car and the old junk pile as an excuse to try to run them off the land. But when the law said it would probably be okay to leave the junk out here as long as it was arranged as art, oh, that's when Keith went to work. And thus the Hillbilly Garden was born. Check it out, there's a room for rent here in the back of the old minivan, and it looks like the Frankensteins have taken up residence. experience. So of course Keith gave them a drive-through movie experience. Oh, and once you've gone that far, why not add a portable barbecue to the property? A public restroom. And if you get real sleepy, you can just brush off these very tired flamingos. And as Keith says, flop your mattress down on the Hillbilly bed springs. Oh, it gets much worse. All of this is located under the trees that are really starting to bud. Oh yeah, plenty of spring flowers appearing. Better make sure you keep watering them. And where better to get water than the old-timey Hillbilly grist mill? Wow, that is impressive. Just watch out for the water moccasins. And being, like I said, a very avid fan of roadside attractions, what better way to pay tribute to Cadillac Ranch than with all these lawnmowers? Look at this lawnmower ranch. It's glorious. There are so many of them, and it keeps on growing. Every time Keith busts a lawnmower out here, he adds it to the crop. That is one awesome, very personalized tribute to Cadillac Ranch. And look at this over here. It's still not complete, but this is Keith's miniature tribute to Salvation Mountain out in California. Dude, that is cool. Well, as you can imagine, the neighbors that didn't want a shiny new toy museum here were really not happy about this. Apparently, they were hoping a subdivision would be built on the property. So, of course, Keith obliged them with a subdivision for ants. Apparently, that wasn't enough, though, because the Holts had their power turned off, they had bullets whiz by, and eventually, they were even dragged into court over all this. But as you can see behind me, art won out. And what I like to call the pun forest has been growing and growing ever since. Yes, sir, that's the way they sow their crops, all right. And their sowing was a success because they got a nice bumper crop out here, too. Oh, yeah, every single thing out here is a dad joke. Like the redneck tree right here. Or the chandelier with the Bud Light. Oh yeah, there's a pun or a dad joke or a one-liner for everything here. And the few things that don't have them are still hilarious, like this hillbilly time machine. Unfortunately, Keith told me the flux capacitor's out of whack right now. But despite that, it's still the local hub for time travelers. Oh yeah, man. Everything out here has a crazy twist. But we're getting ahead of ourselves with the whole forest of puns back here. Because there's so much other stuff to see. When the local authorities objected to the semi-truck trailer with Keith's toy collection in it, telling him he can't have abandoned vehicles on the property, this too was turned into art. And although Keith personally doesn't consider himself much of a painter, the side of the old trailer became a tribute to some of his favorite circus clowns, including himself. Oh yeah, Keith was once a circus clown. What the? Actually, that one might make sense. When a local band wanted to film a music video out here, they asked that their portraits get painted as well. So now members of the Mud Daubers are enshrined out here in the Hillbilly Garden forever, or until the paint fades away. Well, of course, one sheet metal portrait leads to another, and now there are all kinds of crazy characters out here. Look at this, the whole front of the Holt home has become an art gallery. Oh my gosh, there's Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid, and if you're noticing that there's quite a number of clown portraits, it's because Keith told me that if a painting didn't start looking like who it's supposed to be within 3 hours, it got turned into a clown. Man, if I had thought of that, I would have finished a lot more of my paintings. I'll tell you what, that is so awesome. The Hillbilly Arts Yard Gallery. This place is legendary. Oh yeah, this is definitely a little more of the hillbilly Kentucky flavor I was looking for. Oh, hello there, madam. How are the eggs coming along? Oh, she doesn't want to talk about it. Well, that's okay. If the chickens don't want to talk, maybe the ducks will, or the pigs, or the huge turkey out there. Look at the size of that turkey. Oh man, I'm gonna be thinking about Thanksgiving for the rest of the day. I don't know if you noticed, but Apple Valley's animal farm is actually located right behind this western town here. Keith's tribute to Kentucky territory, which was a nearby classic Old West roadside attraction. It's the Old West. That is epic, and all built out of scrap lumber and a healthy dose of imagination. Dude, I love that Frankenstein painting right there. They should be selling prints of these. Well, as long as we're standing out here in front of the house with the chickens, I might as well mention the Hillbilly mobile lawnmower. And some of you southeastern USA road trippers might recognize this. Looking familiar? Do you get it? It's the Holt version of Sea Rock City. Get it? Rock City? See? Man, all of my favorite stuff is here. And it only gets better because it turns out that eventually they found a way to build Toyland after all. Behind the crazy quilted house and behind the crazy custom koi pond made out of bottles and even a glass human head. Weird. The property's one-time garage has been completely transformed. This one is impressive, you guys. Prepare your minds because you're about to witness toy overload. Ladies and gentlemen, close the door behind you and welcome to Toyland. Oh my gosh. Would you look at the size of this toy room? Okay, well, the room isn't that big, but check out this epic freaking toy collection. They don't just have a little bit of everything in here. They've got a lot of everything. It's like an epic toy museum, only unlike a toy museum, Toyland isn't arranged stiffly or formally. There's a little bit of everything everywhere. All the toys are mixed and matched and hanging out with each other just like they would in an actual kid's bedroom. This is the freaking coolest room I have ever been in. Once you walk all the way into the center, you are literally surrounded with 360 degrees of toys on multiple levels. Oh my goodness. I'll try and pan through slowly and give you guys a chance to get a good look because no doubt you're seeing plenty of stuff you recognize. But there are so many toys in here. I feel like it would take a lifetime to see them all. I am particularly loving the little people toys. Did you ever play with Fisher-Price Little People? When I was a little people, we got to play with all of my mom and my aunt's leftovers. And I thought we had a lot of stuff, but I never even knew there was a Holiday Inn set like that one back there or an old school KFC and McDonald's. This is amazing. It's like a whole little people town. Oh my gosh, my brother and I, we had a train just like this, which of course we used to play Disneyland with. But my absolute favorite little people toys were the ones you could use in the bathtub. Floating marina, floating boats. Now that is one of those things, they just don't make them like they used to. Those were the days, man. The bathtub toy days. Oh man, this is all absolutely insane. Everywhere I look, I see stuff I used to have, stuff I always wanted, and I thought I knew a lot about toys, but a lot of stuff I never knew existed. I mean, how cool are all these old school, large scale cowboy figures, and especially the old play sets, dude. I love that Billy the Kid back there is hanging out with Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and you know, Jerry Springer. Looks like he's up to his old tricks, creating a little heat between these firemen. Dude, everyone from the Wolfman to the Cat in the Hat, I think that's Donald Trump right there, Frankie's Monster, even the Ninja Turtles are kicking it in this Old West diorama.
Diorama? Not the mama.
I think that's my favorite thing about this place. When I was a kid playing with my toys, Batman definitely teamed up with the Ninja Turtles. Globey there used to give advice to my crash dummies. I always imagined all my favorite toys all lived in the same crazy mixed up city. So even though I have seen a lot of very epic toy collections lately, like the world's largest toy museum, the action figure museum, I gotta tell you, so far, this one is my favorite. Look at that, Mork and Mindy are up there next to the Star Trek Migos. And hey, I see the Fonz up there. Epic 66 Batmobile, giant E.T., the epic Ghostbusters Firehouse playset back there. I was telling you guys about that when we were at the Real Thing in New York. Never had, always wanted. Just in my field of view right now, I see The Simpsons, I see Weird Al, I see the Muppets, I see Dick Tracy, I see SpongeBob, Family Guy, X-Men. There are even epic cereal characters hanging out here. Now there are over 3,500 toys in here, and according to Keith, who's trying to fix one of them back there, that's only like 20% of the collection. This makes me so bummed out that the original financial backers backed out of the first Toyland concept. Hopefully someday the funding comes together, because Keith's ultimate vision for Toyland is a much larger diorama that, like this, you can walk through and just be totally immersed. Oh man, way in that back corner, I see a whole setup of Batman villains, and right above all the Ghostbusters, I see a whole Ewok forest up there with, wait a minute, is that Rob Stark? Oh, poor Rob. Don't go to any weddings. There's more Star Wars than I can shake a stick at in here. All along the top tier, against all the back walls, are innumerable Star Wars diorama setups. I see a lot of Tatooine, and oh my gosh, check out that sweet Hoth action. Man, Hoth runs along the whole side of the building. And I love that it's not just a musty museum display of figures. Look at that. You got some X-Wing pilots building Frosty the Snowman back there. Whoa, double vintage Death Star playsets on the ceiling. I see pigs in space, Care Bears in the clouds looking down at us. I mean, I told you there was a little bit of everything. Look at that. Woody and Jesse are driving the stagecoach next to Grandpa Munster. Down here, you got the VeggieTales hanging out with Zorro. Hippie Barbie's meeting aliens. Twinkie the Kid is hanging out while Slick and Spin watch a whole bunch of bugs. Sentinels from X-Men are staring over into the crazy giant Jurassic Park diorama. Oh, and look behind. Look at all those Pirates of the Caribbean figures. Dude, there is way too much to capture all in one video. Literally thousands of toys just in here, not counting that whole trailer. And according to Keith, it all started with this one figure of the Hoth. Not from his childhood, he found that at a thrift store. And obviously the collection has been growing and growing ever since that moment. One of my favorite sections of all is this one, mainly inspired by The Nightmare Before Christmas, but also including plenty of glow-in-the-dark classic monsters. Everything from Mars Attacks to the Crypt Keeper to Rudolph to Frankenstein to Casper the Friendly Ghost is over here. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen an Urkel doll. And I have to admit, his Pee-wee's Playhouse setup is much more impressive than mine. Look at Pee-wee running around in a circle. Some of these toys are held down by latex, which is kind of a removable type of a glue, but a lot of them are just sitting out in here. You may be wondering how Keith sets them back up in case anything gets knocked over. I was wondering the same thing. Well, it turns out that behind these little walls here are secret tunnels. Dude, this is awesome. I am really trying not to think about the spiders, though. Ooh, that's where I put my Diet Snapple. I feel like an explorer. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yes, this definitely puts a different perspective on things. Look at this. We're looking from the toy's eye view. This is what they see when people come inside to take the tour. Oh, man, this is impressive. I gotta tell you, though, this is one tight squeeze. As cool of a view as this is, yep, I can definitely feel my rump area knocking over some toys. Probably better squeeze our way back out of here. Oh, no! What have I done? Oh, no. Hasn't there been enough killing? Don't think about the spiders. Don't think about the spiders. Think about anything but the spiders. All right, there are way too many toys to look at all in one shot. I've got to get out of this room. My brain is so overstimulated by all the fun. Whew, and after being in the tunnels, I'm starting to get a little claustrophobic. All right. We'll make our way out of here. Oh, of course he has the Thunder Quack. Everyone had the Thunder Quack but me. Dang it. Oh, I almost forgot. Keith said we could activate his old wind-up train from his childhood. Okay, let's see here. Oh, dude. Sick. Keith is bumming out because apparently there were 6 trains all running in here at one time, but over the years they've slowly burned themselves out and ground to a halt. Well, this one seems to be still running along. And it stopped. That is awesome. I am so happy that I didn't knock over everything. There's just so much crazy stuff in there. I don't want to be the one to wreck everything. Oh my gosh, Toyland was awesome. It's so exciting being in there. I almost peed a little. Good thing I held on so I can use Hillbilly Heaven out here, though. No, I'm just kidding. That's just a replica. By the way, they were telling me this is the original well on the property, but it hasn't been going so well lately. Because I'm sorry to say, dear Liza, There's a hole in my bucket. Dear Liza, a hole. Now this whole place is free, and as you can see, Keith is wandering around back and forth giving tours of the property all day long to visitor after visitor after visitor pulling off the highway. So if you guys come out here, make sure to leave a contribution in the little can. That way they can continue growing the pun forest. All right, we're gonna get out there again. But before we do, I've gotta show you guys a little bit of this. Even counting all those toys, I think this might be my favorite part. Check this out. We are now standing inside the Wallace family's original roadside gas station and country store. This is the very same counter that Keith Holt's grandparents stood behind in the 1930s, selling people oil and gas. And if they would sit down a spell here in these exact chairs at this exact old school counter, then behind it, the Wallaces could fix you up a chicken dinner made fresh from the chickens on the property right here in this exact oven. Dude, talk about a mom and pop operation. Inside, you can find all kinds of original photos showing the original Apple Valley and the family that ran the store. They have records from World War II back here, their original soda pop selling license, even a picture of Oral playing the old fiddle. Oh, and it's not just pictures, because when they were cleaning these buildings out to reopen the property, Keith found the fiddle itself. See that? That's the original Gulf sign that used to hang out in front. Almost all of this old Gulf oil and gas stuff, as well as these pictures, old war bonds, they're all original family relics they found in the building. Not only did Oral Wallace and family serve up some crispy chicken dinners, give you oil and gas, apparently he was also the local mail carrier and moonshiner. He could deliver both to you on the same route. And dude, check this out. He was also handy as a barber. Those are his original hand squeezy clippers. This is the original sharpening strap and lather brush so he could give you a shave. Well, you know, I'm thinking about going out to the old Oral Wallace place, get myself a haircut, a crispy dinner, and fill up with gas. Could get myself some fresh eggs, maybe a sody pop, or maybe a jar of that apple pie moonshine. Don't tell Mom. Dude, check it out. See that sign right there and this gigantic sign in front of the counter? These are both original hand-painted signs from back in the 30s and 40s when Keith's grandpa was running this place. They even found some old Model T tires on the property. And craziest of all, according to the family lore, at one point in time, none other than the infamous Bonnie and Clyde stopped in. And after hanging around for a few days, they paid their bill with this shotgun. Now, of course, nobody who was here then is still alive to confirm that, but that's at least the local legend. That's why Keith spelt that lift right there, just in case it's not true. He didn't tell people that Clyde left it. Dude, imagine cleaning out the attic and finding one of Bonnie and Clyde's guns. That is pretty darn cool. Much cooler than cleaning out your yard and finding all these sick snake skins. Ugh. Actually, they're not so bad. There's just something sexy about snakes. Anyway, if all this history wasn't cool enough, Keith, of course, has added a lot of flair. And this gas station turned museum now doubles up as a monument to theme parks and roadside attractions, with a huge collection of vintage attraction postcards, an insane amount of old Viewmaster slides, old theme park magazines and coloring books, park maps and old vintage menus. Seriously, Keith has an amazing, impressive collection. You have got to come check it out if you love theme parks and roadside attractions. And of course, Keith is a natural born entertainer, so make sure you get the guided tour, because there is a pun or a story for everything around here. In fact, the only reason Keith isn't with us right now is because we both talk so much, especially to each other, that we decided there's no way I could show the whole place if we were together. Oh, by the way, Keith built this back in the day in one of his previous jobs as a puppeteer. Oh yeah, Keith was a puppeteer, a circus clown, a stand-up comedian, which will make a lot of sense to you if you get the guided tour with Keith, and even a professional certified union actor. As a matter of fact, he and his wife met while working as extras on the first episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. That is one heck of a how my mom and dad met story. Dude, I am a fan of any and all roadside attractions, but a place with this much history, that is something special. Especially when the entire place is completely covered with handmade DIY custom hillbilly art. You know, like old potty mouth up here. Or how about these here hillbilly giraffes? I already showed you the redneck tree. Of course, we already saw the hillbilly time machine. But how about this hillbilly chariot over here? Just don't blow your head gasket. Keith told me they have so many chickens on the property, they're starting to mate with the trees. I love the slogan of this place, which, by the way, is a tribute to Delgadillo Snowcap, a Route 66 landmark. They have a sign just like that. But they definitely don't have a hillbilly spaceship. Dude, how sick is that? This is amazing all by itself. But of course, Keith has puns to go along with all of it. Like last night, he told me to watch out for their psychedelic mushrooms, because people tend to trip on them. Or how about the hillbilly version of the Alice in Wonderland caterpillar up here? Sweet. All the neighbors were really worried about this wild, long-haired guy that moved back out here from California in the very early days of this place. Apparently, some cops came here to ask if he was growing pot. Well, naturally, Keith said yes and came back here and showed them his pot farm. From what I hear, the policemen were not amused with this one, so he's added a little tribute to them in this piece. Okay, that joke was a little too grown up for the kids. Guess we better head over to this area and reboot, because this is where you reboot. Get it? Oh man, I love coming out here and seeing all this custom art. It's pretty great, but I have to warn you, there are a lot of sinkholes out here. So you might want to watch your step. Puns. Now Keith will guide you around here. He'll explain what this tree is and what that tree is. All the trees have pretty cool stories. Well, all except this one. This tree sucks. You suck, tree. Get it? This tree sucks? Well, you know what doesn't suck? My favorite thing of all out here. You've heard of the mysterious Stonehenge. Well, Hillbilly Gardens has the mysterious Thronehenge. Look at this Thronehenge. Yes, and more yes. The guy's a genius. Thronehenge, where the demons dwell, where the banshees live, and they do live well. Thronehenge, where a man is a man, and the children wipe with their Oh, wait a minute. That's gross. We're gonna have to work on those lyrics. Dude, Stonehenge built of toilets. I freaking love this place. Of course, no vintage roadside attraction was truly ever complete without its exotic animals. And they really started freaking out the neighbors when these signs started going up. I don't know, I might be upset too once they put the live bear in this cage, but don't worry. It's just the family bloodhound. The dog's name is Bear. Get it? See, Bear? Thanks, Bear. Thanks for coming out. Actually, she looks a lot like Hank Hill's dog, Ladybird, which is why her name is really Lady Bear. And no, she doesn't live in there all the time. She's just there for the purposes of the pun right now. All right, well, the sun is starting to go down, so I think we had better rope Keith into this and get in a few more delicious puns before we have to go. So without further ado, the man, myth, legend, creator of Hillbilly Gardens, Keith Holt.
The booty tree.
Ooh, it's ugly.
The Valley of Lost Souls. As you can see, they're happy because they're lost together, but they had a rough night. They're a little mossed over.
Watch out for the Crocs.
And a few of the souls have awoken because they've seen the light. Jack and the Beanstalk.
Complete with giant
Radiator Springs, the retirement home. And you may notice the one tire is fallen and can't get up. And then younger tires are performing for the older tires. And that tire back there has had a major blowout. So they're trying to lifeline them up. This guy's obviously too tired to get up.
And what is this one right here, Keith?
It's obviously the Hillbilly Secure Daycare Center.
Hillbilly Secure.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do have the devil tester.
Oh no, it works! Everybody's mother-in-law was here.
So if you do pass the devil test, then you're welcome to come over here and go down to the hot party. And you can let us know if hell freezes over while you're down there.
All right, wait a minute. I know this one. The Holy Rollers.
As you'll notice, we do not waste our money buying mashed potatoes at the store, because as you can see, we do grow our very own fresh mashed potatoes. Then you might be saying, are your mashed potatoes so darn good you need the Army guarding them? That's not quite the case. It is the original set of mash. Complete with boot camp. And yes, radar is making a special appearance today.
Ooh, someone was technologically impaired over here.
Look, Elvis has left the building.
All right, what is this, Keith? What are we looking at here?
Well, it's actually my open canvas, and you might notice you're our Apple Valley Canyon, not as impressive as the Grand. You're not in Kansas any longer. And then you're flying over Kansas City or Canada. Kind of hard to tell from the sky. And then you may notice we do have that return of the King of Pop back there.
Oh, tell me more. This is some art I can get behind.
Oh man, I should have opened with these.
I don't think this needs explanation. This is the most evil piece of all. The dentist chair.
Actually, that's a root canal.
Oh, very punny. Very punny. Ah, chairway to heaven. Having a little trouble. And here are all the art supplies. It looks like a hillbilly Hobby Lobby over here.
Yeah, but there's one big difference.
What's that?
We're open on Sundays. As you notice, some of my puns do lay big eggs.
I was trying to remember this one earlier from last night's tour, and I could not come up with it.
It's obviously the original three-way calling.
Ah.
And then back in the old days, you used to carry it around back pocket, and you had to keep stopping at the store to buy more cord, because obviously the further away house you got, longer cord had to be. You couldn't go anywhere back then without troubling someone else's cord. That's how tight up America was back then. Then I know that you probably even told the young generation how easy they have it, because it took us forever to text on one of these things. We have the scoop, the dirt, the trash on you. If not, we will dig up something about you. And of course, the original tabloid news system, you get the scoop, then try to sell it to 3 different organizations at the same time.
Oh, I almost didn't notice over here the first time. The gator pit is full of powdered Gatorade containers.
Don't get too close, Justin, because they could snap at you.
Oh, Snapple bottles. These are the finest dad jokes in the world.
Yeah, that's my grandparents' original chicken coop. I'm not sure how much wood's original, but it is original chicken coop, so now I turned into my snake place. And as you guys have traveled, you probably notice all those snake places always have a big billboard or a sculpture to get their attention to come see our world's largest snake. It turns out to be yay big or looks dead. So we have the killer milk shake. And then you might notice there are 2 albino clovers up against the store too.
Oh, man.
Hey, Justin, you may notice we do not waste our money buying imitation Christmas trees at Christmas time. It's pretty darn obvious. We do grow our very own live imitation Christmas trees. I learned you can use some yeast manure, and it does grow the ornaments for you. And I know most of you are out there saying, hey, dude, you need to use better quality yeast. You're gonna get cheap beers out there.
Oh yeah, be careful not to drink in these ornaments. You'll get all lit up. Man, you got all kinds of wacky trees out here, Keith. What in the heck?
You might notice the shoes are heading up the can-do tree, because obviously they can do.
Okay, and finally, what in the world are these 2 trees here?
Well, I just do things to confuse people occasionally.
Oh, that makes sense.
Then my wife's always complaining I don't buy her enough flowers and vases for those special occasions. So last Valentine's Day, I did splurge. I went out and got her a nice flower and vase. She didn't seem to like it. It ended up out here. And some people informed me it's because I was buying her poinsettias for Valentine's Day.
Ungrateful.
Yeah, no, I can't believe it. Well, you heard that old saying, you can't beat a dead horse, but you might notice you can sure split a dead horse.
You see, what I tell you, there's a story for everything. I wish we had time to go over everything one at a time, but sadly, time is running short. So we're gonna save the best for last. The 2 interactive exhibits. Keith, what are we looking at here?
The Hillbilly treadmill, complete with the lead paint. As you can see, that's not affecting me whatsoever.
And unless we get tied up by anything else, last but not least, the Hillbilly Soapbox Derby system. The only ride out here at the Hillbilly Gardens, but you do have to ride at your own risk. Okay, what is this seat thing again?
Well, if you're too scared to ride the elephant does walk off.
Okay.
And you have a professional opening for your rump to fit in. But hey, I used to travel a circus, so I'm not scared of elephants, so let's see what happens.
All right, he's actually going to do this, everyone. All right, fire away.
Yeah, watch me.
Yeehaw! Oh my gosh. He didn't die. You didn't die. Can I try that?
Yes, you want to.
Oh man, I've got to try. And it looks perfectly safe as long as I don't hit this tree here or that tree to the left or the tree dead ahead. I probably won't break anything. Here we go. Here we go. Dios mío. Sorry, Mr. Elephant. Oh man. I lived. Am I a real hillbilly now, Keith?
Sure.
Oh, that is great, because I am already getting really tired. Oh, wait, Keith just pointed out, those are ties. I should have come over here. Okay, let's do it again. I am getting really tired. Was that better?
Yeah.
Can I retire now that I've ridden the Hillbilly transportation system? I've seen as much as I can handle on one visit. Thank you, Holt family. I've done my duty. I can finally go home and sleep well. If I can just figure out how to get on this mattress. I'll let you know how it turns out. Bye-bye. Yes.
Duck.
Ah! That really quacked me up. Just open it.
The hillbilly security system.
Yes!
Okay, one neighbor wrote a review, and she said, I don't understand why a toilet and a tree constitutes art. Well, at that time, I had no toilet, so.
You added one. So that's just for the neighbor.
Just for the neighbor, and it's kind of facing her, too.
Put that in your knapsack and smoke it, neighbor.
Can you push them off there lightly? Or?
Why is it so wet?
Because it was out here in the rain last night. We have the scoop, the dirt, and the trash on you. If not, we will. Okay, I'm sorry.
So that's the hillbilly shooting range, huh?
Yeah, and then if you miss, you might get a neighbor or two.
Oh yeah, there's one important thing I forgot to mention. There is live entertainment out here, right, Keith?
Yeah, we got the barbecue quartet going. And it's my tribute to my parents, because when I was a kid in the 70s, they thought barbershop quartets were still happening. So they used to take me to the barbershop quartets while my friends are seeing AC/DC and Black Sabbath. I'm seeing barbershop quartets, so my tribute, barbecue quartet. And then, of course, be careful, Big Brother is watching you with the high.